And hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. Also want to welcome those tuning in on Conversations Live on WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com. We're glad you all could join us as well. As we are kicking off a brand new year, I'm excited to welcome back my friend, Dr. Teresa A. Smith, to our broadcast. You guys know her affectionately as Dr. Taz. On Instagram, you guys know her as Dr. Teresa Smith. We're going to talk to her not only about her journey that she's been on for herself, but also what it's been like for her to share that with all of you. Hello to you. Let's see. Is it Belford? I think it may be. Hello to you. Glad you could join us. There's Dr. Todd. Going to go ahead and bring her. And of course, if you guys have any questions for Dr. Todd, we'll make sure that we get those in on our program as well. She's celebrating a great start to the year with a brand new show here on IG. Hello to you, Todd. How's it going?
I'm doing great, Cyrus. How are you doing?
Doing really good. Doing really good. Glad to be able to speak with you as we're kicking off a brand new year. A lot going on for both of us this year. I just mentioned, Taz, you have a brand new show. Of course, we're going to talk about that as well. So talk to us about 2024 for you. I know for a lot of people, it's a reset. A lot of times it's an opportunity for them to be able to look at their goals, to think about what they want to do. How are you approaching 2024, Taz?
Well, Cyrus, first of all, since I was on with you on Saturday, I've got to say that I don't see you, but you see me, correct?
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. You don't see me?
I don't see you, but as long as you're seeing me, then we're good.
Okay. I tell you,
I don't,
it's been interesting with IG lately. I'm not really sure what's going on there.
but that's okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to double check.
Yeah.
But how am I going to be approaching my goals for 2024?
Mm-hmm.
Cyrus, I'm gonna have to approach them head on. Sometimes I think that we think that we can move slowly and that things are just going to materialize, but you've got to move quicker. I keep saying to some folks that there has to be a sense of urgency.
Yeah.
And I have a sense of urgency about all the things that I'm doing in my life. And so because of that, I'm planning, and I'm revising. Because if it's not working, then I'm not going to wait 4 months and then decide, oh, well, that didn't work. Let me start over. I think that regardless of what you're trying to accomplish in 2024, you need to have designated times where you look at the data. And it doesn't have to be that traditional work data, guys. It can be, okay, I've been doing this for 3 weeks. Am I getting anywhere with it? If you're not, then you need to look at it and revise it. So that's what I'm going to be doing throughout 2024 because I want to meet my goals this year. And so it's going to be incumbent upon me to make sure that I do that.
Well, Tosh, to that point, though, you are an interesting individual. I can relate to this. I think some of our audience can relate to this, too. It's not like you're just doing one thing. I mean, people know you as an author. You're a speaker. You're a media personality yourself. You're also an influencer. How do you make the decision as to where you're going to pour your attention? Because I think for a lot of people that are multi-talented, sometimes that is the challenge for them, not just for a new year, but every day. How do you make that decision and determine for yourself where you want to focus your energy?
Well, Cyrus, even with that, I'm constantly evaluating. And probably 20 years ago, guys, I know I just look like I'm 30, but probably 20 years ago, could have been 30 years ago, I was meeting with a career counselor at my alma mater. I had already graduated from UNC, and I was trying to figure out which direction to go in. And so we did some testing, and it was like, you're good in a lot of different areas. So now you've got to determine which area you're going to focus in. And I'll be honest, that is very hard. But one thing that I'm learning about being an author that maybe is going to help me settle in a little bit more this year, just because you've written a book and you released it last year, the PR components of that book are still alive and well.
Yes.
So in other words, what I'm saying is you still got to massage that. I've got about 2 books in the wings. Yeah, about 2. Well, I probably got 3, but I got 2 that are basically done. And I want to move forward, but then I had to look at it realistically. I'm still promoting the bounce back. I'm still promoting transformation. So is it prudent? Would it be prudent for me to then jump in with another book? And the answer is no, because what that's doing for me is adding more stress.
Yeah.
When I should have been more intentional about what I was going to focus on. And so, even though there are other things I'd like to do, I'm focusing on the writing as the big umbrella, and there's a few little drops of rain that will, sprinkle down that accompany the writing that I'll be focusing on.
Love that. I want to give some shout outs. Dr. Peterson, hello to you. Dr. Latonya Peterson is joining us.
Hi.
Shantae had a great call with her, working with her this month as well. Todd, she's joining us as well from the West Coast. You see QD Publishing, good to be able to see you as well. For those who are new to Dr. Ties, she's an individual who I've gotten to know because of this book. It is interesting here you talk about transformation and the bounce back. A lot of people just discovering you.
Yeah.
So how do you do that, Taj? This is an interesting question. You're great to answer this because you and I first, I'm color coordinated with this book today, but Stronger is the book that a lot of us were introduced to Taj with. But as she was mentioning, and I don't think, Taj, you can see it, but I'm holding up now Transformation.
Okay.
And then we have Transformation, the Bounce Back, which is her latest book that she has. So what has that been like for you, Taj? Because I'm sure you get the same thing I get. Like when I've been promoting now my new art show, people will say to me, I didn't know you were an artist, even though literally my public introduction to the world was through art. What do you say to people who just discovering you as an author? They know you as a media personality, they know you as a speaker, but and as an educator, but they may not know you as an author. What has that been like for you to keep reintroducing yourself?
Cyrus, it's been interesting, but what I'm learning is, and I do the same thing. I know a person, and I love music, guys, but most times I like all genres of music. Let me get that out there, from opera to jazz to country, R&B, rap. I love it all, but most times, Cyrus, I will like a song, but I don't always know who the artist is, or I'll know who the artist is, but I know them by that one song or those two songs, and that's what I know about them. And I don't, and this is going to sound so bad, but I don't go explore the other parts of their life or the other songs that they've done. I just don't. And so for me, it's like the same thing. And so I realized that it's slowly but surely, Cyrus, that I have to keep putting the information out there. And that's been a learning lesson for me, because I didn't grow up in an environment where we just shared everything that we did. So for me, I'm coming more into it now, because it's not like if I don't share it, then they don't know it exists, because they know me for the cooking. They don't know that I'm an author. So I have to constantly get that information out there so that they know, what's all in my catalog, but it's interesting, and it's a struggle sometimes.
I get it. Ivy Sweet 93, hello to you. Glad to be able to have you. Hardcore Grind Magazine, I'm going to be speaking with you at the bottom of the hour. Glad to be able to see you as well, Alicia. But again, for those coming in, Dr. Teresa A. Smith, or Dr. Teresa Smith, you guys know her on Instagram, is our guest for this segment. We're talking with her about the beginning of 2024, but she's given us a lot already, guys. She started off her career as a writer with this book, Stronger. She also has another book that's from Bravery to Victory. You guys can get the ebook on Kindle. Also, she has the book Transformation, and she's kicking off. When she and I had a conversation just a couple of days ago, I asked her, I said, okay, how do you want to start the year? Because I had the privilege of working with Ties as we kind of go throughout this year. And she said, transformation. So I want to talk about transformation for a moment, and appropriately so, as we're beginning a new year, Ties, because for a lot of people, they are trying to be able to make changes for themselves. They're trying to be able to make decisions for themselves. What has it been like for you to share your own transformation?
It's really held me accountable, Cyrus. I almost want to say it's been freeing, but no, it's held me accountable, because as I'm sharing my journey, I then have to be true to what I'm saying. And I understand it's a difficult step to take every moment of the day, being true to yourself. But I think that real happiness, real joy comes from being true to yourself first, then assisting others. So that's my thing, be true to me this year.
Yeah. And you've been able to allow in transformation, I'm holding that up now, Taj, you've been able to let people know that, hello to you, Manswell, good to be able to see you, that in transformation, you're very transparent in the fact that transformation is something that comes easy. And I'm so glad we're having this conversation as we're beginning a new year, because a lot of people who may want to quit a bad habit, or they may want to enhance something in their lives. I think what transformation reminds me of, Ties, and you and I give you this advice all the time because I take it myself. you have to be forgiving of yourself. A lot of times we beat ourselves up about what we don't get done
Mhm.
or what we aren't doing, instead of realizing where there's an area to work on and just keep working. But I think so many people, Taz, and I'm curious as to your thoughts about this, what happens is they identify what they're not doing, and they just stop altogether. They don't keep going. They just say, you know what, I failed. And it could only be March. But they're like,
Exactly.
you know what, I failed. How do you encourage people to take it daily and to realize that this is not easy when it comes to making that transformation?
Cyrus, it's interesting that you asked that. I am in the process of putting together for the month of January a transformation tip calendar.
Mm,
So for every day, I'm going to have a tip for them because I think we have to constantly remind ourselves, because like you said, it's just March or it's just the 15th of January. And because I didn't do something for 3 days in a row, now I'm just throwing up my hands. And so I was trying to figure out how I could help individuals. So I'm putting together a calendar that's going to have tips on it to help encourage them and help them to fall back on, so that if I'm having a bad day, I can take a break. I may take a mindful break. I may take a walk around the block or around my office building, whatever it is, just so that you can recenter yourself. Because I think it's so easy, as you said, to give up. And for me, I'm constantly talking to myself, the positive self-talk, so that I remind myself that, okay, so you didn't do this today. Okay, that doesn't mean we're just going to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
hmm
You didn't get everything done, but there's always tomorrow. And, Cyrus, you didn't ask it this way, but I'm going to say this. I think that it's really important for those of us who are trying to live a healthy life, and that's body, mind, spirit, and soul, to have stop times. Meaning that if your stop time is at 6 o'clock in the evening, that's it. It's at 6 o'clock.
hmm
There should be some things that are non-negotiable, because I think that when we negotiate that and we move, well, I'm just going to go another 15 minutes and then, it's another hour and a half. What happens is we are not feeding our body, mind, soul, and spirit. And so therefore, the next day, your drive may be diminished. But it's not because you don't want to accomplish what you set out to do. It's because you're
Yeah,
tired and you didn't honor the stop time. And
yeah,
I just think that's so important.
yeah. And you know me, I take naps.
Yeah, I know.
I work very long days, but
Mhm.
I will throw in a 30, 45 minute nap, sometimes two in a day.
I don't know how you can do that.
Sometimes I have to do it because, and that's the thing. And I tell people all the time, I had someone say to me recently, you seem to always be working. And I said, that's really not true.
Mhm.
I work a lot, yes, but I do honor my body. I make sure I eat. Make
Mhm.
sure I was telling my mom today. Haven't talked about this publicly, but hey, that's what we do. I
Yeah.
had a couple of days last week. My blood pressure spiked, which is unusual for me because I don't have blood pressure issues.
Mhm.
Kind of find out, I was dehydrated. I wasn't drinking enough water,
Yep.
and so that's what I told my mom today. I have to make sure I'm drinking water, even though it's 40
Yes.
degrees here in
Yeah.
Mississippi.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I'm not really thirsty. I need to make sure I'm drinking water. I think that is such a good reminder, because I know if I don't take care of myself, I'm not going to be good to anybody else.
Nope.
And so I love that. And you brought up a great transition too, because now I'm holding up your cookbook. And a
Okay.
lot of people watching this now probably think she has a cookbook too.
Yeah.
Yes. Dr. Taj has a cookbook too, Transform with Taj. You guys can see her there on the cover. So Taj, I have to ask you this question. For the first time, I put myself on the cover of Words I Choose to Live By, the second edition. Now I have my new book coming out this year, Minding Your Business. I'm on the cover of. But I had consciously made the decision not to put myself on the cover, because I was like, you know what, people are going to get tired of seeing me, that kind of thing. What has it been like for you, though, to see yourself on the cover of Stronger? And then, of course, now your cookbook, Transform with Ties.
I think that really, because the other books I'm not on the cover, but
Right.
I think it's interesting that I did it with those two books, because Stronger is it's me talking about I think essay is what is the
Yeah.
going word now, or
Yeah.
the going
Yeah.
word is on
Mm-hmm.
social media. So obviously I was on social media today.
Mm-hmm.
But with the essay and the trauma and all the things that I dealt with physically as well as emotionally as a child growing up, I think that the covers with me on them, I think it represents resilience, because it takes a lot to be out in the forefront
Yes.
when you're talking about all of your quote unquote
Yeah.
trauma. I'll use that word. And I think when it comes to the cookbook, it's a little pressure actually, because again, with my cookbook, I cook based upon the fact that I got Graves' disease, had gastric sleeve surgery. So it's good food, but I got my little twist on it. So it's like, okay, am I always going to be judged by how I look because I put that picture out there? But the reality is we're always being judged.
Yeah.
And I've had to, kind of come to terms with the fact that there are times that your picture needs to be on the book, because also it's recognition.
Yes.
Because if they didn't see me, they don't know what I look like. And they'll say, oh, she's kind of healthy there, but she's a little less healthy there. But I'm just a regular old person.
Right.
And I hope that my pictures being on those two particular books resonates with people. That whatever I've accomplished, whatever I've overcome, they can do the same thing. So that's the way I look at me being out in the forefront with those books.
And I should make a correction on myself. QD Publishing say naps are great. You better believe they are, QD.
They are.
I sometimes I get so excited about the nap.
How do you do that, Cyrus? How do you just turn off?
I absolutely agree. Well, let me say this real quick, though. The reason why, though, Todd, a lot of times I'm not even going to sleep. But the nap is an opportunity for me to separate.
Yeah.
And so I get away from the computer. I'm getting away from my landline, because I still have a landline. Yep. It's literally right here by me right now. I get away from the phone, and I'm actually able to have that time where I'm able to just kind of separate, Yeah. Now I do set my clock, so I know, okay, it's time to go back to reality now. This is nice, but you have to. But I think that has been so important for me. I do want to make a correction on myself, though. Something I mentioned. You were actually on the cover of 3 books, because you also are in From Bravery to Victory too. A lot of times, Well, as you were talking, I thought to myself, I got to remember that, because she is on the cover of that. I forget about that because it's only an ebook. I forget about that one, but you're on the cover there too. So, Toz, for yourself, one of the new things you're doing, when you told me about this at the end of last year, I was so excited for you. Manswell said that's the bat phone. This is actually part of my new brand deal, Manswell. This is the Motorola that I have. You'll be hearing more about that later. This is about Dr. Toz right now, so I'm not going to be talking about that right now. But shout out to Motorola. I appreciate you guys. But Toz, one of the things you told me about at the end of last year that I was very excited about you doing, again, stepping out front, you have a new show, and you kind of made it a family affair. Talk to us about the new show that you're bringing to IG.
Well, Cyrus, I'm going to back it up just so you guys have a little backstory.
Yeah.
I am the oldest of 3 girls, and my youngest sister, my mother had her my first semester in college. And so we didn't grow up together because, I never went back home to stay, but I would see her during spring break and fall break. And so I had an after school program, and my sister started working the after school program. And from there, our relationship really began to take shape. And then I was sick, and I said, once I know what's wrong with me, and we get that handled, I was going to travel. Well, my sister loves to travel, so she and I travel all over the world together, in and out the country. And because we were working together, traveling together, we had some of the best conversations. And I'm like, people need to hear this stuff. I'm talking from I'm hearing my niece in my head now, my big old age. And then my sister is talking from her generation, which is her big old age. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing how we can kind of weave things together. I get it, and she gets it. And so I said, we need to share this with people because it's a different take. She's a single mom. She's she's got a daughter that's in college now. And so we've got one that's in middle school. I've never been married. I don't have any kids. So our thought processes, the way we approach things are so different, but it's the same. Because as we were saying the other day, she's really like firstborn, because I'm firstborn, because of the fact there's 18 years difference between me and her, and then 14 years different between her and my middle sister.
Wow.
And so what I wanted to do, Cyrus, was share those nuggets, those aha moments that we have when we're chatting. So our show is coming to Instagram next Tuesday at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, 7 Central Time, and it's called Real Talk with Taz and Angelia. And my sister's name is Angelia. So I am inviting people, please come in the comment sections. You know, we're going to be talking about life. We're going to be talking about things that are trending. I won't tell you what I text her, what I did text her. I won't tell you what screenshot I took last night and sent her that I saw on social media. I said, people need to leave blank, blank alone. And she just fell out. And then I sent it to somebody else, and they said, yeah, right. So again, you know, you get a chance to see a fun side of me. It'll be a little serious, but you'll see a fun side of me because it is unscripted. So, yeah, we'll have a topic and we'll just roll with it.
Love that. Katie Publishing says, sounds interesting. I'm excited about it as well. And I always get this wrong. Your sister's name is pronounced Angelia. Is that right?
Well, let me do it correctly.
Okay.
Angelia. It's Angelia. Angelia. I'll get you up on it, side. It's Angelia.
Oh, yeah.
The only person that pronounces it correctly that's outside of the family is my girlfriend. We have been friends since we met in college in 1985. Her name was Paula, and she's known my sister her whole life too. And so she's like our other sister. And so when she says my sister's name, she pronounces every syllable. It's Angelia. Angelia. Yeah. But my sister, most people call her Angela.
It looks like there's an R in there. Is it pronounced?
It is, but you don't pronounce it.
Okay.
You know,
that's what's been throwing me off, Taz. Because I was trying to think, I heard her say her name. I thought, where's the R?
We don't say it. It's Angelia. Okay. But you're right. People are trying to pronounce that R, but you don't pronounce the R.
Don't pronounce the R.
And I named her.
Well,
I got to say that. I named her.
Did you?
Yes. Angelia, I had a friend of mine in college, and her name is Angelia Kimyada, but she went by Kim, K-E-M. And so, if I'm not mistaken, her name is African. And so, my mother was looking for names, and so I named her my sister. So.
Wow. Amazing. Well, Taz, this has been another great conversation with you. I'm so excited for you and all the great things that's coming up in 2024. Excited to be on this journey with you. I'll be working with Taz throughout the year this year, so I'm very excited about that. Taz, let them know how to stay connected with you.
Well, the best thing to do is to go to my LinkedIn and, to my Instagram, which is Dr. Teresa Smith, as Cyrus said, and there's a bio there, the link tree, and it will have all the information there. And like I said, I'm working on a calendar for the month of January, and I'll have that there also for folks to download and help them throughout this month. And you can always recycle it for the next months to come.
Love that. Well, look, I love you, Taz. So excited about all the great things that are happening for you. You guys, make sure you guys get her books. There's a cookbook, Transform with Taz. You guys can see it there. Her very first book that she has is a great way to be introduced to her and her personal story. It's called Stronger. You guys can see it there. But the book she's going to really be talking about this year is this book, and that is simply called Transformation, a great way to be able to begin 2024. You see her holding up hers there as well. Taz, again, looking forward to our next chat together.
Thank you so much, Cyrus, for having me.
More than welcome. And we thank you all for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents. Until next time, you all make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Bye-bye.